Welcome again to my Tens and Tens of Friends. It is me, Teacher TJ, and today we will be trying something new. I did a Reddit post probably 3 years ago. It was like the last time, but I have since figured I should give it a try again because there are a lot of great threads on Reddit, and also I love to stay current with the time. I will be responding to Reddit posts that are relate to my field. And one thing that I found out is that the posts in the early education fields are not that plentiful, or they're not really what I'm looking for. And also, I'm getting to learn Reddit, so maybe I just don't know exactly what to do or how yet. But this first post this is a Reddit AITAH. Am I the asshole? Okay, so AITA for telling my child's daycare provider what happens at the party. My daughter is 3 years old and attends a small license in-home daycare, so that totally relates to me. With 5 other children. Girl, get you some more kids. Her birthday party was over the weekend, and I invited all the kids she goes to the daycare with to attend. It was a lot of fun with the exception of one part. There was one kid, Harry, who's the same age as my daughter. He had a really hard time, and while he was very happy, he kept trying to destroy things, run off, etc. Imagine what that teacher goes through every day. This Harry. At your party, at school, every day, all day. Somebody, get Harry together. His parents was kind of hanging back, and that's why Harry acts like that. And really only got involved if other parents were saying things like, "No, thank you, Harry." Kids this age can be rambunctious. My own daughter is no exception, and all the kids were a little crazy. But it certainly was not to the point. He's judging Harry. It wasn't to the point that Harry was. Still, it didn't ruin the party in the slightest, and everyone had a good time. Though I don't think we'll invite... Dang it, you can't do that. I don't think we'll invite Harry to the next party, given his parents wasn't trying to help the situation in the same way the other adults were. With that, I would already, with that, because I don't disclude the children. I will time you out. Don't have a seat. Think about your actions. Take a toy with you. Take a thinking toy and sit down in the thinking chair and think, okay? Because you need to think about some things, Harry. And here's the thing. I say, while I don't agree with singling kids out and not including them, I definitely know for a fact Harry's going to think about the fact that he had to miss a party because he was a little over the top. And maybe Harry's parents will think about it too, and they'll all start to work with Harry, because stop playing Harry. Today I went to pick up my daughter from daycare. Harry was throwing a huge tantrum about something, and the daycare provider, Louise, was doing her best to help him regulate and calm him down. Once she did, she turned to me to tell me about my daughter's day and apologize for that taking so long. I said, "Oh no, it's fine. I saw Harry's antics firsthand at the birthday party." Louise gave me an odd look and said, "Oh?" I explained some of the stuff that went down. Louise then thanked me for the information and said Harry's parents told her how well behaved. Delusional, the kid. I'm going to be honest and say the parents that really got them ones, they're delusional. Like Harry just great. And I really want you to stop. I really want you to really call Harry what he is. He's a terrorist. No, he's not a terrorist, but he wasn't the best behaved kid at the park. Like, knock it off. Call a thing a thing. That's what Ayana said. We're going to call a thing a thing. Louise thanked me for sharing this information and said that Harry's parents told her how well behaved Harry had been at the party. So clearly, daycare is the problem. What? Gotta blame somebody. She promised she wouldn't say anything to Harry's parents. It was just good information to have because it confirmed what she thought. They were lying that these behaviors don't exist outside of daycare. We chatted about my own daughter's day and then I left. I was telling my husband about this and he said I shouldn't have said anything because I could have gotten Harry's parents in trouble and now have created drama for Louise. And why do men do that? Why do men be like, I'm gonna stay out of it and I want you to? Let me give you an example. My ex, okay, so in my house back home in Hammond, there was some kids who lived next door to us. And our house was just a basement and then there was like the upstairs. And, no more to that. But across from us, there was a building that looked to be about 3 stories, okay? And across from us in this building, I see some kids literally like hanging out the window. So I'm like, oh, I get to go talk to their mama. Like, hey, get y'all butt out that window. And my husband at the time was like, that's not our business. I just mind our own business. They say women are the protectors, and I agree because we take action, even though a lot of times it's like, girl, why did you say something to that lady? She throw it off. But nonetheless, we take action. We're not going to just sit around and watch kids fall out the window or just pretend that Harry ain't over there harrying. And how can she get her in trouble? Your son is a terrorist. Quit acting. I honestly wasn't thinking about it like that. Nobody is, hon. And now I worry I should have just kept my mouth shut. Am I the asshole? That's no asshole nowhere in this story except for Harry. No, I'm just kidding. Harry is not an a-hole. But one person responded, but it says, not the asshole, but Harry's parents sure are. Somebody got to be at blame. They have arguably poor parenting skills and are trying to blame it on Louise. And that's like Louise don't have enough. Louise have y'all children 5 days a week, no less than 5 hours a day. And let's say they go 8 hours a day and 5 days a week. Regardless, the point is Louise is doing the best that she can. And the parents' ability to place the blame on everybody else is creating a monster. This person, Kayla, 1806, says she did deserve to know that a daycare provider. Parents should be honest about their child's behavior to their caretakers. Otherwise, you're setting them up for failure, and I couldn't agree more. You did the right thing. Thank you, signed, and ECE, which is an early child care educator, pre-K teacher. And it's true. It's like, why are we lying? Me and my husband, we just gonna sit and lie to each other. And then we're gonna lie to Harry and make Harry think like it's okay to go out in public and have these type of interactions in public. And all it's doing is getting you disinvited from parties. I'll read one more response and then we'll move on to the next Reddit. Not the asshole. You were being vindictive. You weren't being vindictive or spiteful. It was an honest response to a normal situation. Most kids will have a few tantrums. That's completely normal. What isn't normal is a child's parents misleading their daycare provider about their nature. Besides, I doubt Louise will bring it up, but she probably very empathetic like most teachers and is grateful to know this behavior isn't her fault. I think we all know it wasn't her fault. But even Louise, even if they came out their mouth and literally said to Louise that she was the problem. I think we all know that's not the case. One thing for certain is if they don't get Harry together now, it's only going to get harder because Harry gets bigger. So, no, in my opinion, the party thrower was not the a-hole for telling them Harry's behavior. And I think this is a learning lesson for the teacher and not the teacher, but the parents in the future. Harry's not going to be invited to things. No one's going to want to play with Harry. Harry is going to keep, and I suggest to that teacher, remember I said I don't, to my tens and tens of friends who know me, I let you all know that I do not suspend kids. But for those parents, them ones, I get to calling you. Come get your child because you're not working with them. So what can I do? And then after a while, Harry got to go. Go find another teacher. Good luck with your search. Because there's no reason that Louise should be stressing herself out every day and being the blame for it for what parents aren't doing. So get Harry together, please. I lied and said that I would only be reading one more, but I'm actually going to read one more response to the post. And it says NTA, not the a-hole. Delia base, maybe. A, there's no way you could have known Harry's parents were gaslighting Louise about his problematic behavior. True. B, I have been in that carer's shoes, and you need to know these things to be the best equipped to help the child. His parents were not helping him at all by gaslighting her and ignore their kid's behavior issues. You didn't gossip maliciously, true, or anything, and that's like a thing. I don't come to me with your gossip. I don't want it. I don't. 9 times out of 10, I see and know all anyway. If I don't know it, don't. I'm not here to gossip because this isn't a hobby. This is my livelihood. So I'm not trying to create no mess. And you know what's crazy? I haven't had any parents come to me with gossip. And yeah, that's been pretty cool so far. And I've been in business at home for 5 years. To finish up, Delia Lace, she said you didn't gossip maliciously or anything, but you may have given Louise better ideas on how to help Harry. And Louise, let Harry take some vacation days. Let Harry's parents come pick him up early. But the last thing you need to be doing is stressing yourself out on a regular because Harry's parents are in real denial about his behavior. I guess I lost one of my posts, so I couldn't really. It was a part one and a part two, and then from what I've told, Reddit will get rid of a post fairly. Not from what I told, from what I heard Burb and Bougie say.
Shout out to Burb and Bougie.
They will get rid of a post. It's not uncommon for them to get rid of posts. So we are going to go to the next one, and maybe I'll find one more and read it. But this one says, this is only a month ago. This is in the Am I the Asshole Reddit. And it's a post from Early Eggs 8231. And it's a AITAH for wanting to put my son in daycare while my sister, whom I share a sitter with, does not. And just to let you all know, I read these live. I'll read maybe just a little bit and then I share the whole thing with you all for natural reactions or commentary. My sister and I have sons who are 3 years old. Since they were infant, we had a shared nanny whom we paid a small salary to. Eventually, our nanny wanted to quit, so our mother retired and took over being paid the prior nanny's salary in her place. My mother receives Social Security, so this would be a small supplement to her income. The situation with my mother would require an entirely separate thread. But to keep things short, my mother and I have a very rocky relationship. Why did you even put yourself in that one thing? I don't know why. why we think people change the older they get, but they don't. If you and your mom had a rocky relationship, to want to deal with her and then in such a complicated way, you're with your child, you know what I'm saying? She's going to be the caretaker of your child every day, and that's a lot. So to agree to that situation is, let's keep reading. The situation with my mother would require an entirely separate thread. But to keep things short, my mother and I have a very rocky relationship. During her time as a nanny, it required her to stay at my house since she did not have a car. Eventually, we butt heads and we argued terribly, which led to her moving with my sister. Seen that coming. Our boys are now 3, and I think it's appropriate to put them in preschool. My sister does not want to pay any additional fees. So she's giving me a hard time about why I want to end this engagement when it's the cheaper option. It's cheaper today, but is it going to be cheaper down the line when your child got issues? And sometimes it's worth paying. Am I the a-hole for wanting to put my son in daycare? No, you're actually very smart because at 3, first of all, to any parent out there that has children, I have yet to watch this video, but it keep coming up in my feed, and maybe I'm gonna watch it one day because it totally feels opposite of how I feel about childcare. And the way that I feel about childcare is if you have a baby, a child, and they are not in childcare, no, first of all, I feel like your child should be in childcare unless you are really spending quality time with them. They're not sitting in their room on a tablet or they're not, just watching TV all day. If you have a child, I feel you should definitely put them in daycare. Your child's brain is developing. This is just AI, but an AI overview explains that infant brain growth is explosive, with the brain doubling in size during the first year and reaching roughly 80% of adult volume by age 3. While neurons are mostly present at birth, rapid development involves forming trillions of neural connections, synapses, myelination, and pruning, driven by experience and notably high-speed neural activity, which means your brain is a muscle, even for an infant. So a child who is not constantly being engaged through conversation or play or changing or feeding on a consistent day-to-day basis is losing that brain development at an early age, and we can't get those years back. So what I'm not going to do is send my child to my mama house who I know has issues, and then she's going to be, we're going to be fighting maybe in front of her, arguing in front of this child, and not doing the educational things that we should be doing when a child is younger and forming that brain development. So I absolutely think he made a very good decision putting and here's another thing. By the age of 3, it's still not too late to continue to work with that child. If they were at home just sitting in a room staring at a wall I pray that that's not the case for anyone's child, but for 3 years, there's still hope 3 and beyond, but the earlier the better. While she was living with me, I mentioned to her that my sister had not brought any supplies or foods or snacks the entire time while the boys were babysat at my house. It was a throwaway comment. Why you say that? Why did you ever say that? If it's an issue, why'd you say? If it wasn't an issue, why'd you? My mom told my sister to cause a fight between us. I don't understand why you would say such a thing. Eventually, we all made up and things got back on solid ground, but it still bothers me at times. Did you learn to keep your mouth closed? Our boys are now 3, and I think it's appropriate to put them in preschool. I do too. My sister does not want to pay any additional money, so she gives me a hard time about why I'd want to end this engagement when it's cheaper, when it's the cheaper option. AITA for wanting to put my son in daycare. I truly need feedback and happier to hear opposite options. Um, no. As far as that child is concerned, now you might be the a-hole for telling your mama about this, or your sister about the snacks or whatever the snack situation was. But as far as putting your child in daycare, no, you're an awesome person for that. We appreciate you. Um, the earlier the better. Kids need to learn how to interact with other kids, because you could mess around and have you a Harry running around because you didn't get your child the proper help that they needed, which is another thing about daycare is a lot of times they are able to get outside resources for children. Additional factors. My nephew has 2 teenage siblings who teach him swear words, which are passed on to my kids. And I'm sorry, as much as I would be like, yeah, you should definitely put them in for that reason. The truth of the matter is, most preschoolers have siblings who teach them swear words. It's a whole thing. I haven't had swearing recently. Recently meaning like the past 9 months. I haven't had any swearing here, so that's good. But well, I'll take that back. I did have it, but I was able to stop fairly quickly with no problems. So yeah, the swearing, you might be able to bypass that. You might not with the daycare. Also, my mom and nephew argue all day and have yelling matches. I work from home full time. So your sister's child is yelling with your mama? Yeah, I don't think your mom knows what she's doing. Now, I'd be lying if I was telling you that I am the perfect person, and sometimes me and these kids don't go back and forth. But for me, it's always it's always in a way where it's not like, it's a conversation with emotions. Like, I think I just had to do it today. What did my baby tell me? I don't know if she was yelling for Cheez-Its. I forgot what we were having a engage what we were having an engaged conversation about, but we were definitely like, hey, but no, it's because look, it's supposed to be like, and she was, no, well, I said, and it's like, well, if you think about it, for me, anytime I'm talking with a young child, it's like trying to get them to see the whole picture, because I promise you, when you make it make sense to a kid, they're like more susceptible to go with the flow. If I can get you to understand that that's dangerous, or we can do that later, or if you do that, you'll break it and we'll have to throw it in the trash, which are usually the debates around here. Then we don't have to argue, and a lot of times, or not argue, but have these heated or loud exchanges. But a lot of times, I don't think children realize how loud they are. And so sometimes during a conversation, I was like, you're yelling. And one thing that being a seasoned teacher, I know I can't say, you're yelling, unless I done said it like a million times. Then my voice might get a little louder after the umpteenth time. But for the most part, a lot during the day, a lot of times during the day, I'm usually like, you're yelling, or sometimes they be kids be kidding. Sometimes they might like want a snack and she'll be like, I want Cheez-Its. It's like, is that how we ask for Cheez-Its? So, you know, I would need your mom to develop those skills because the kid can't go to preschool or kindergarten talking to the teacher reckless. In 3 years, I still have not received any food or supplies or contributions. Is he bringing up this food and supplies and contributions again after him and his sister got into a big argument about the food and supplies and contributions? So, yes, definitely put your child in childcare. One, two, you can't worry about what your sister gonna do because obviously she ain't worried about you. She not even supplying the food and contributions. But Bazaar Ranch says all of this is noise. You decided how you want you decide how you want to parent your child. The options of your sister and mother are irrelevant. You do what you think is best for your child, not what your sister wants. I'm not asking for permission. I'm informing you of my decision. Practice that. Not the asshole. I agree. Somebody, rare background 8891 says, don't argue your decisions with people who get no vote. And that's a quote from Gavin DeBecker. And that's the fact. You aren't parenting by committee, OP. Fact. The only person involved in this decision are the child's parents, and that's it. That's it. Because people, a lot of time, people want to, and I try to be real mindful of that I'm not trying to tell these parents how to raise their kids, but I will definitely let them know what I see and what I think, and then I might, but I'm not trying to tell nobody how to raise their kids because the fact of the matter is, don't nobody want you to tell them how to raise their kids. Yeah, yesterday I noticed that yesterday my lipstick, my liner was not like blended in. Back in the day, the girls used to wear the black lip liner around their lips, and I hated every bit of it. And I felt like one of them the other day when I noticed I did not blend my lipstick into my lip liner into my lipstick. Somebody beating down the block. I don't know if y'all can hear that.